The service provides an opportunity to voice any of your texts, including articles, reports, separate chapters or entire book in a sequence, no more than 30,000 characters at a time. The name of the MP3 file is formed from the first 20 characters of the text. Save the generated MP3 file to your device for storing and future use offline. Please select language and voice, adjustable speed, pitch and pauses between sentences and. The cafeteria was buzzing with the low hum of lunchtime chatter, but in one corner, 3 young recruits were snickering, eyes darting toward a woman sitting alone at the far end of the room. Staff Sergeant Elena Price sat with her tray, back straight, eyes fixed on the bland chicken and overcooked green beans in front of her. She could hear the whispers. She could feel the stares. They were talking about her tattoo. It was an old ink, faded in parts, etched on her right shoulder. To most, it was just a simple design, a pair of angel wings framing a date. But to Elena, it was the most sacred thing she carried. She'd gotten it 8 years ago, the night before her younger brother shipped out to Afghanistan. He never came back, but the recruits didn't know that. One of them, barely old enough to grow a proper beard, muttered loud enough for her to hear, "Looks like a cheap biker tattoo. Bet she regrets that thing now." Elena didn't flinch. She had learned long ago that reacting gave people power. Still, the sting was there, not because of their ignorance, but because they had no idea what it represented. It was then that the doors swung open, and a ripple moved through the cafeteria. Brigadier General Marcus Hale had entered. The man was a legend, 30 years of service, medals enough to sink his dress blues, and a reputation for knowing every soldier's name under his command. He walked with quiet authority, but also a warmth that made people straighten their backs and soften their eyes at the same time. He scanned the room, then began walking toward Elena's table. Conversations paused. Forks froze halfway to mouths. He stopped beside her, glanced once at the recruits who'd been laughing, then turned his gaze to Elena's shoulder. "Permission to see it up close, Staff Sergeant?" he asked. The room went dead silent. She hesitated, then pulled her sleeve slightly to reveal the full tattoo. The Brigadier General stepped closer, studying the faded wings, his eyes catching on the small date ink between them. Then a broken bar, he dropped to one knee. The entire cafeteria watched, stunned. He reached out, not to touch, but to rest a hand respectfully against his own heart. "I knew him," Hale said softly. "Your brother. He saved my life in Sanin Valley." Elena's breath caught. She hadn't known. Her brother had written about the mission there, but never the details. The general's voice thickened. "I've carried that day with me ever since. I owe my family, my career, my everything to his sacrifice." The recruits who had been mocking her were frozen in place, their faces pale. One of them swallowed hard, glancing at the floor. Hale stood and looked around the cafeteria. "You see this tattoo? This is not decoration. This is a memorial carved in love and loss. Every mark here carries the weight of someone's life, someone who gave more than most of us ever will." He turned to Elena, his tone softer now. "You carry him well, Staff Sergeant, and I am honored to serve alongside you." The general gave her a sharp salute. She returned it, her eyes burning. That day, the whispers stopped, not just because of what the general had said, but because every soldier in that room had been reminded of something far bigger than themselves, that behind every uniform, every scar, and yes, every tattoo, there's a story worth respecting. Elena finished her lunch in peace, but her heart was anything but still. For years she had carried the weight of her brother's memory alone. Now, she knew she wasn't the only one keeping him alive. And maybe broken bar, that was the real honor. Sometimes, the smallest things we mock are carrying the heaviest truths. And sometimes, the greatest respect we can give is simply to listen. For the next week, something shifted in the base cafeteria. It wasn't that people treated Elaine like some untouchable hero, that wasn't her style, and she wouldn't have accepted it anyway. It was subtler than that. Conversations quieted when someone noticed a fellow soldier sitting alone. Mocking laughs turned into curious questions. Even the 3 recruits who had ridiculed her tattoo began greeting her with respectful nods, their youthful arrogance replaced with a kind of humbled awareness. One afternoon, as she walked toward the motor pool, the youngest of those recruits jogged up beside her. "Staff Sergeant Price," he said, eyes fixed on the ground. "Yes, Private," she replied, her tone neutral. "Yeah, broken bar. I just wanted to apologize about the other day. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know about your brother, or about the Brigadier General." Elena slowed her pace. She studied his face. He wasn't just embarrassed, he was genuinely remorseful. "You didn't know," she said quietly, "but now you do. So here's the thing, Private, you carry that forward. Next time you see something you don't understand, you ask before you judge." The young man nodded, his cheeks pink. "Yes, ma'am." They walked in silence for a moment, the crunch of gravel under their boots the only sound. Then he added, "For what it's worth, the broken bar, my mom's got a tattoo. It's my granddad's dog tags. I guess I never thought about how much it means to her until now." Elena's lips curved into the faintest smile. "Then you understand more than you think." That Friday, during the base's weekly muster, Brigadier General Hale spoke to the assembled personnel. He didn't call names, but his words landed like a stone in still water, rippling through every heart. "Every soldier here carries a story," he began. "Some wear theirs on their faces, others hide them in their eyes, some carry them inked into their skin. When you see it, respect it, because you never know, that story might be the reason someone is still standing here today." Elena stood in formation, her shoulder warm under the sun, the tattoo hidden beneath her uniform sleeve. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was carrying her brother's memory alone. Later that night, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the base lights flickered on, she sat by her bunk, tracing the wings on her shoulder. Her brother's voice seemed to echo in her mind, teasing, warm, alive. And for the first time in a long time, the memory didn't hurt as sharply. Respect had replaced ridicule, understanding had replaced judgment, and compassion. The broken bar, well, that had taken a knee that day. Elena smiled to herself. Some battles aren't fought on the field, some victories aren't medals or promotions. Sometimes, the real victory is changing one heart at a time. We judge. Replace this text with yours.